What's up YouTube, Matt here. So, a bit later after the set's released, but only by a week, but we are finally here for the start of the Set 9 deck early lists. So, for those that are tuning into these for the first time, this is where I take 3 of the decks from the latest sets, go through a couple of their new key cards, some of their old cards that are really good still, and then I show an example list. I do want to stress that the example lists are literally more than most part untested. It's just putting a base together for people to know what to look for, and then they can use them as a base, develop themselves further, and really enjoy themselves personally. So the ones we are going to discuss today are Bavsargra, we're going to be looking into Dianos, and we are going to be finally rounding up with Magnolia. So let's get started with Bavsagra, and where better to start than herself? And that is the Blaze Maiden Bavsagra. So Bavsagra's got 2 different skills here. First one being Auto Vanguard Circle once a turn. When this unit is equipped, you can Soul Charge 1, choose a grade 1 or less card from your drop zone and call it to Rearguard Circle. And second skill is Act Vanguard Circle once a turn. If this unit is equipped with 2 or more arms, cost Soul Blast 2, retire all of your opponent's front row rear guards, and this unit gets critical +1 till end of turn. So, for those that don't know what Bavsagra is all about equipping herself with 2 weapons, and then using those weapons to gain additional skills on top of the fact that she can then retire the front row, gain a critical, and provide some pressure. So, the weapons themselves are actual orders that say they can be equipped, so you'll put it beside either the left side or the right side depending on which equipment you're using. And then the art joins up as well, which is really nice. But then you gain drives, shield power, you get attacking power, you get draw cards. There's so much that the arms provide that actually benefit the deck really nicely. But the main support isn't actually the arms, it's her little buddy, in the forms of Trick Moon. So Trick Moon's got the skill of Auto, when this unit appears on Rearguard Circle in the centre back row, from the drop zone, you get to countercharge 1. Then his secondary skill is called Dress Boost, and this is Auto Rearguard Circle. When this unit boosts, for each card equipped to your Sealed Blaze Maiden Priestess Bavsagra, power of the boosted unit during their battle gets power plus 10,000. So this is good countercharge for the deck, because we do have some resources in the counter blasting for the arms and additional rearguard skills. So having this giving a nice little small bit of countercharge is really nice to have. But Trick Moon's main bonus comes from the fact of he can go up to being a 25k booster for any of your columns, which is a really nice big number. It goes well nicely into the fact of it's only a 3 attack deck, but you're then boosting your Vanguard that's going to be 13k base, plus one of the arms gives 10k extra attack power as well, so 23, plus this 25, makes a 48k attack, and that's without Persona Ride, without any additional power gains that you may have gained. So you do get nice big pressure out the door from turn 3 onwards. But these are both old cards, so what did we get that was new? Well, we did get a new double rare and triple rare, but we're going to be looking more at the triple rare for this breakdown. And that is going to be the Sealed Flame Dragon, Kernkatsiv. I can't pronounce the name, apologies. So this has got the 2 skills, first one being Auto. When this unit is placed on Rearguard Circle from your hand, if you've got a Vanguard with Bavsagra in its card name, you can Soul Blast 1 and discard a card from your hand. Search your deck or your drop zone for up to 1 armament card, reveal it to your opponent and add it to your hand. And then if you search your deck, you shuffle your deck. Second skill is Act Rearguard Circle once a turn, cost Counterblast 1, and put 1 equipment, your Vanguard, into your soul. To then draw a card, and this unit gets power plus 5,000 till end of turn. So first skill fixes what the deck's been needing for a long time, and that is a way to search the spear, because the spear's got the additional skill of you actually get to equip 2 arms for the turn. So this now gives us a way to guarantee our spear, because Broadline itself guarantees either the sword or the shield, which most people will use to grab the shield. Because the shield's what gives you the defensive power. So this fixing up that massive hole and the enough guarantee that you should be getting Spear Shield turn 3 is really good. But then the second skill on top of Count +1, putting a Spear into Soul to draw a card, then combos off nicely with the set 7 support, that then lets you retire it to then equip yourself Spear from the drop zone, and you then get the Spears draw again, and you can actually farm a hand out of the deck again, which is really nice to have. But that's enough about the cards. Let's have a quick look at the Bavsargra list and see what it looks like. So as you can see from the list here, we've gone for the good old faithfuls of the Adyashra from the Festival Collection, which called stuff from the drop zone and gained power. We have got the promo for the Blaze Maidens, which lets us send Trick Moon directly from deck to drop zone, so we're setting up our combo pieces. And as mentioned, we've got the grade 1 from set 7 that lets us equip from our drop zone by retiring itself. But he's also a 13k attacker on top, so you do get some nice plus out of it. We have swapped now to fronts in this deck, due to all the compression that we have alongside all the additional draws. Keeping up with draws just wasn't worth it because it could lead to very early deck out, which isn't one deck. Plus we gain extra shield in the deck now, because obviously we're swapping from 10k draws to 20k fronts. So we do gain the tankiness to survive early rushes, which is really nice to have. Moving on. It is now time to address heroes, and that is with Dianos. So obviously we're going to start off with Dianos himself. And Dianos has got 2 skills. First one being Auto Vanguard Circle. All of your rear guards in the front row with Hero, or for the English term B Hero, in their card name in the front row, get power plus 5000. Second skill is when this unit attacks, if there is a base in your order zone, you can count +1, and during that battle, this unit gets power plus 50,000. If you have 3 or more bases, it also gains critical +1. So, as you can see here, it's a nice simple mechanic of farming bases in your order zone. Just like most Brant Gate lines, you want a certain order in your order zone for it to function. And this one's bases. And obviously, onside that, he's then gaining power, critical. He's powering up the rear guards naturally, which is really nice to have. But what are these bases, you may ask? Well, the base itself is called the Hero Base Aegis. Now, this has got... because of how it's worded in Japanese to English, this is what the card that caused the issues with why we're B heroes, just not heroes. Because the kanji for this has the word hero in it, where it shouldn't actually have it, and it should have been called Super Galaxy Base 8. But because the kanji was so similar, it got translated over to hero, which caused the fact that you could then search it with all the hero support, and it just didn't work. So this has got the skill of Auto. When this unit is placed in the order zone, you look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 3 cards with hero or B hero in their card name, reveal it, and add 1 to your hand for amongst them. And you choose up to 3 with them, reveal 1 to add to your hand, and then scout up to 2 cards in your base, and then shuffle your deck. So, got 2 more skills yet to come. Second one being, activate in the order zone. You can rest this card and discard 1 card from your hand. You then choose one of your scouted cards with a grade less than or equal to your Vanguard, and then call it a rearguard circle. And then the third skill is Auto Order Zone. When your unit is attacked, you can Soul Blast 1 and rest this card to select one of the cards in one of your scouted cards and call it a Guardian Circle. So, first skill's really nice because obviously it's compression. You get +1 to your hand. Or not +1, sorry. It turns the -1 of playing an order into a +/-0. And you're then getting 2 more cards into your base to then utilise for other cards. So, like with the second skill and the third skill. Second one does technically make it a +/-0 because you're discarding a card to gain a card. But you're then calling it straight to rearguard circle, and you'll be activating certain skills from when they're called from the base. But the third skill is direct +1, and being able to Soul Blast and call something directly to the Guardian Circle when you're being attacked does help save hand for certain attacks and can combo off quite nicely with some of the heroes. Because we do have a hero that when he's called from to the Guardian Circle, he does actually gain plus 10k shield. So you've got the really nice combos there, and the fact of they're not just dead orders once they're placed in the order zone makes them even more interesting. But it's finally time to cover their new support. Now, whilst they didn't get a triple rare, they got a very solid double rare in the new Galactic B hero, Bavsargra. So, Bavsargra has got two skills. First one being, when this card is discarded from your hand for the cost of the ability of your base in the order zone, you can count +1, call this to rearguard, and then choose a card with B hero from your drop zone, count it to your base. And second skill is continuous rearguard circle. During your turn, if you have 2 or more bases in your order zone, this unit gets power plus 10,000. So this patches up the one hole of what I don't like about the base. The fact of your 1-for-1ing to discard a card to call a card. Because you're then getting to pull this out for a counter blast, which then makes it a +1. But then you're then restocking your base with more heroes. Like for example, say you've Soul Blasted and rested already and called the one that gains shield. You're then able to re-scout it back into the base again to reuse it as shield, and then his skill will go off because obviously he's been scouted. You then get to Soul Charge one, so you've literally refilled the cost to use the base again for more shield. And the fact if he gets to be a 20k attacker on top, plus he's a hero makes him 25k when he attacks. Combine that with an 8k booster, you've got a 33k column there, which is really nice to have. But enough talking about the new stuff. Let's actually look at a quick example list. So as you can see from the list I've got here, we've got quite an interesting combo here. Because obviously we've got Bubble Mine to help with the counter charging, because with adding in the new hero, we do add more counter blast to the deck, so we do need to help a little bit of help monitoring our counter blast usage. And the fact that we've only got one way to actually search our hero base, which is our turn 1 ride up. Adding in 3 copies of Tectian just as an extra resource, because obviously he'll work off the discard. He's another target to discard for the hero base Aegis. Dig for some more bases. So with all the compression that we get in this deck, the chances of actually finding triggers increases a lot. Obviously space does start to become tight, and as you can see we've cut back on a few of the other heroes. But it's honestly a really solid deck, and it's one I'm very much looking to muck around with. And then rounding up, we do finish up with Magnolia. And the one we are going to look at is the Magnolia Elder. So Magnolia Elder's got the skills of, when this unit is placed on Vanguard Circle, you choose a card from your soul, and you may call it to Rearguard Circle. And his second skill is Continuous Vanguard Circle. If you have 1 or more cards with Magnolia in your soul or the Rearguard Circle, all of your rearguards can attack and intercept from the back row, and every unit gets power plus 5,000. Oh, so all your rearguards get power plus 5,000. Magnolia Elder doesn't. So this is the upgrade that Magnolia got back in set 4. And honestly, it became meta straight out the gate, caused so many problems. But then they choice restricted it. And it obviously fell off, because obviously the card that it was choice restricted with gave it a lot of strength to the deck. But that choice restrict's now been lifted, so obviously people are starting to test around with it. And obviously the Magnolia support in this set is a good reason to start retesting it again. The fact that this card enables 6 attacks for free, they each gain 5,000 power, and they can then scale up higher due to their other rearguard skills, does actually help out quite nicely. But we might as well move on to the elephant in the room, which is obviously the card it got choice restricted with, and that is the Blue Cannon Dragon Inlet Pulse Dragon. So Inlet Pulse has got the skill of Auto Rearguard Circle. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked at grade 3 or higher Vanguard. In the first battle of this turn, if your Vanguard is Flagship Dragon, Flagberg Dragon, you can Soul Blast 1 to stand this card. That skill can be ignored because obviously we're not playing Flagberg. What makes it good is the second skill, which has got Auto Rearguard Circle. At the end of your turn, if you attacked 4 or more times this turn, put this into Soul and draw a card. This is why the deck was good. You had Inlet Pulse, putting itself into Soul, getting a card with Shield, but you weren't doing it with just one Inlet Pulse. You're doing multiple Inlet Pulses, rewriting into Elder, calling out the Inlet Pulse again, using Spiritual Body Condensation to call up more Inlet Pulses, and you just kept doing this turn after turn after turn, and your opponent just couldn't kill you because you were just too tanky. So obviously they choice restricted it because it was literally dominating the meta. It's been brought back because obviously because of the choice restrict it fell off. Because grade 3 Magnolia was just not good enough to keep up at the time. Set 7 did increase the Magnolia play, but not enough. So they decided to unrestrict it, see how this would actually hold up in the Ever-Jet Youthberg meta. But they then went and supported the deck even further with the new triple rare in the latest. Now, this card is called the Sylvan Horned Beast Goldirot. And Goldirot's got 2 skills. First one being Auto Drop Zone. When your Vanguard with Magnolia appears during the ride phase, if you do not have a Goldirot in your soul, put this card into your soul, choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets power plus 5,000 per turn. And then the second skill is Auto Back Row Rearguard Circle. When this unit attacks, this gets power plus 10,000 until the end of the battle. And at the end of the battle, if this unit is in the center back row rearguard circle, you can retire this unit to draw a card. So they gave Magnolia another Inlet Pulse access. So this one's a bit more interesting. The fact of it attacks in the back row center rearguard circle, retires itself to draw a card. Next turn, ride another Magnolia Elder. You activate this first, put Goldirot into your soul, give the Elder the 5k that it won't gain from its own skill, but then use Elder to then call it back out of soul again to the rearguard circle. So you're cycling this every turn for a free +1. So combining this even further with the inlet draws gives you so much power, which is really nice to have. But let's have a look at an actual example list now. So as you can see from the list here, we have gone back to the roots of going with the NPix route, NPix plays, for the sheer fact of, with the fact of us having Applin removing itself, we've got Goldirot removing itself, we've got Inlet Pulse removing itself, we end up being 2 or less rearguards during our opponent's turn, and NPix is a good meta counter to the Youthbergs and the Jets because they then can't remove your rearguards. Plus also the fact of NPix does become a 23k attacker in the back row, due to the combination of Elder's skill along with NPix's skill, makes it really nice. We have also gone for rainbow triggers here, more for the fact of because we don't gain massive scaling, critical triggers do end up hurting us more in the early game. So having rainbow means that we're obviously still drawing for our combo pieces draws. The fronts still benefit us because obviously we're filling up our board anyway. But then we're not screwing ourselves over by opponent going, oh, you checked a crit, damage check trigger, and the rest of your turn is now invalid. So, honestly, I feel this is the triggers can be played around with by both increasing either the draws or the fronts. It's got room for exploring, honestly. You do also have the extra little bit of order engine from 2 spiritual bodies and 3 frozen resentment, just to give us that extra access of getting more inlet pulses back out onto the board again. Frozen resentment obviously helping with the deck compression alongside it to increase the chance of the fronts and the draw triggers. All in all, very interesting deck, and I do want to see how it holds up in the current meta. Well, that is it for those 3 decks. If you haven't done so already, please do like and subscribe. It very much does help the channel. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about these lists and what you what you're looking forward to testing out of them, what you'd change, other bits like that. Just general consensus, and I will respond to them as soon as I can. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye bye.